Hello, everybody. I'm here with Steve Lassman of Villas of Distinction. Steve, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me again today.
Dan, I love being here, as you know.
Yeah.
I just thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, well, let's dive right into it. I wanted to sort of get your point of view on the luxury travel market because it's been such a point of discussion for advisors over the last couple of years. It does seem to me now, anecdotally, that more consumers are becoming luxury travelers compared to pre-pandemic. I'm curious if that's something you're seeing as well.
Well, I can tell you because obviously we were chatting just a little bit before here, and I told you how strong business has been from the travel advisor community, especially this past month. So the answer to that is yes. I think what's driving this, though, is consumers always have had the desire for luxury. Okay, but I think what we're seeing and what we're kind of pushing, I hate to say pushing, is what is your luxury? It's not what we think luxury is, or what is your luxury? Because Dan, you and I we could both go to Italy, for instance, and my experience can be completely different than from what your experience is. So my luxury could be I'm all about going to the sites, and your luxury could be, hey, I'm all about eating and the food and the dining and personal chefs. So I think what's happening is clients are very much focusing on this is my luxury. And I think, a lot of that has to do with um, what they see on social media too, because I think people, all the posting you see, on Facebook, on Instagram, and all these vehicles, people are going, that's what I want. So that's
Yeah.
my luxury. So I really think the experience is becoming even more critical than where they're going or where they're staying. It's this is the experience I want. And I think travel advisors are doing a really good job of pulling that out of people.
I guess that's a sort of a level of personalization. That's something I've heard in the past that this new luxury, this post-pandemic luxury, is a lot of personalization,
Yep.
a lot of opportunities that you wouldn't get by not booking through a travel advisor. Have you seen any other things with the wants of luxury travelers changing, particularly with more people seemingly coming into the segment? Do the requirements for advisors in particular, have you seen those change?
I think overall advisors are actually, and I hate to say it the way this is about to sound, but they're getting smarter. They're understanding the market better. They're traveling more than ever to learn more about the product, and the opportunities for them are greater than I think they've ever been. So I think it goes back to those old commercials. An educated consumer is our greatest customer. So I think an educated travel advisor is their best source, and vice versa, because as I said earlier, consumers are much better educated now too on the product. So when you have an educated consumer and an even more educated advisor, creating that uniqueness and that experience is that much better. And people aren't looking for, oh, I want that experience because so and so did it. Yeah, there's still a little bit of those bragging rights, but again, I go back to what do they want and what is the experience that they want. I think one of the trends that we've also seen, you asked about pre and post pandemic, pre-pandemic, people booked 7 night stays or 10 night stays and had this specific budget, and that was it. And maybe they went away 1 or 2 weeks. We're definitely seeing people wanting less nights. So I think what's
Oh,
happening is
interesting.
people are spending maybe more or that same amount of money, but I'm going 4 nights here, 4 nights here, 4 nights here. And instead of doing one 12-night trip, maybe they're doing three little smaller trips. So we've definitely have seen that in the marketplace as well.
Yeah, that is really interesting. I mean, it might be a difficult question to answer, but can you attribute that to anything, that sort of changing in the wants of a longer trip to several shorter night trips? Like, do you get a feeling why this is happening?
You know, my gut is, the world is changing. I mean, people are working harder and harder, and they're working longer and longer. So people that maybe were retiring at 60 are now working to 70, or the cost of living has gone up so much that people are working more. So I think, and the stress levels are going
Yeah.
up. So I think people say, you know what, I need a break. I don't want to wait 6 months to take that 10-day cruise. I think what they want is I'm going to take something in the first quarter. I'm going to do something. Maybe I'll do something with my friends in the first quarter, get away with my friends. Then let me do something with the family during the summer. And then you know what? Maybe for the holidays we'll do something, or maybe we'll go pre-holiday. So I think stress levels, I think people are working harder.
Yeah.
The also, I think too, this just popped into my head too, Dan. A lot of people are working remotely now. You don't have that where you used to go into the office, you'd have camaraderie with a lot of people. Perhaps, maybe because people are working remotely, they miss that camaraderie and they want to go away more often so they can have more of that, whether it be in a private villa, with 10 other people, or on a cruise, or in a resort. I mean, maybe that's
Yeah.
it. You asked me a question that I wasn't really thinking about, but maybe that's it. People are just tired of being that working remote and want that outlet.
Yeah, I've heard also when your office is at home, there's very hard to get a separation from that. So a vacation
Sure.
kind of does that for you, like physically
Absolutely.
almost.
Absolutely.
You mentioned the cost of living, and I know inflation has impacted the travel industry too. Spend has gone up. With that spend, I'm curious, when you talk to advisors, when you talk to some of your clients, do you get the sense that as they're spending more, these expectations for what they're going to receive when they do take these trips have gone up as well?
Yeah, I would agree with that, Dan. I think
Yeah.
people's expectations are definitely rising. Especially in the villa world, because you look in the villa world, you look at the average spend. Our average spend is a big number. Why? Because it's on average a 5-bedroom house, and still on average most people are going away 6 or 7 nights. So if you take the average, you're looking at about 27,000 dollars. That's a big number for people to try and digest all at once. But if you keep taking it down and breaking it down and breaking it down, it comes to about like $700, I think, per couple per night, which is a much more manageable number.
Yeah.
But I think, yes, the expectations, the overall, I hate to use the word package because that's not what we do. We provide experiences, but I think it's the whole experience. Obviously, if you're going, and again, I love to pick Italy always, because I mean, who doesn't love Italy? You're going to Italy. You're not just going to go and sit in your hotel room. You're not going to just go and sit in your villa. You're going to go out and you're going to experience. And if you go out all day and that experience doesn't meet your expectations, it's a bummer. Or if you get to your villa and there's something that's just not right for you, or it didn't feed your expectation, all of a sudden there's that negative connotation, and it takes a lot to change that. So yeah, I definitely agree that the expectations are a lot higher, and we work very, very hard to make sure that, working together with the advisor, that we exceed every single guest's expectations. And the advisors are really good at that, at pulling out of a client. Because if a client comes in and just says, hey, I want to go away, I just want to relax. Well, what is Dan, your relaxing might
Yeah.
be sitting at the pool reading a book, and my relaxation might be going to, a winery and watching, a winemaker talk about how they make their wine. So I think advisors are doing a great job of pulling that information out, because I remember back in the old days, older days, years ago, where clients would walk in and they'd be very hesitant to share with an advisor really what they were looking for in their experience. And I think people, to your point, I think people are much more open about, this is the experience I want, deliver it to me. And now when they say deliver it to me, that expectation is deliver. And I
Yeah.
think advisors are doing a really good job of that.
Yeah, I guess you said the words your luxury. That was the term you used. So like advisors trying to find what that
Mhm.
definition is for their clients seems to be their biggest
Exactly.
task. Yeah, the resources are there once they're able to find that, but I think finding
Absolutely.
that is the
Yeah.
biggest thing.
Yeah.
Steve, I don't want to let you go before asking about villas of distinction. What is
Sure.
new? I know we spoke a few weeks ago, but I know there's constant updates coming, and
Oh,
there's a lot of
absolutely.
things advisors should keep their eye on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously business is strong. So thank you, travel advisors. Always want to start there. Keep putting your trust and faith in us. We'll never let you down. I promise you that. What's new? We just added ski villas in Japan. That's a new one for
Wow.
us. We're very excited about that. The other thing that we're expanding is our domestic product. We're seeing again, during the pandemic, obviously domestic travel was very, very hot. Then, as we started getting vaccines and got out of the pandemic, that international market, as we all know, like for instance, Europe last year was, exploded, and was just, very, very, very popular. But we're seeing again domestic travel being strong. So we're adding more and more domestic product. We're about to add a lot more product on the West Coast in California because we need more product in California. We're continuing to expand our ski product in the Midwest. And we're talking about some other key, which I don't want to say yet, some key destinations within the United States that people are demanding. So those two things are what's new. And yeah, just thank you, travel advisors, for making it possible for us to keep expanding. But the one
Yeah.
thing we won't do, Dan, is we'll never sacrifice quality. We're always going to make sure that we vet, inspect, and guarantee the quality of everything we offer.
Those the ski villas in Japan seems like really a tremendous opportunity for advisors too.
Yeah,
That's such a
absolutely.
hot
I mean,
destination. Yeah.
and Dan, you know what? The way we pick spots like that is based on, advisors saying, "Hey, do you have villas here?" And we started getting more and more requests for it. Funny thing, I mean, I had an advisor a couple of weeks ago, two advisors actually, Uruguay, Uruguay, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, hadn't thought about that. And then I found somebody, so I'm talking to some people about maybe adding a couple villas in Uruguay. So yeah, advisors keep asking us tell us what's hot, which they do. They're not afraid to tell us. As we know, advisors are not afraid to tell us what they're looking for. And if it makes sense, we'll go out and get it.
All right. All right. Well, Steve, thank you so much for taking the time. It's always great to hear your perspective on the market, on villas, on travel in general too. So I really appreciate your time.
And Dan, thank you, and thank you and your organization for what you do to support the advisors and support the partners like us. I mean, it's a great partnership. So thank you.
All right. Take care.
Ciao, ciao. Bye bye. Thank you.